you guys ready for Hank? Hank! Leave it in. Is that close? Is that high enough for you?
That's great. You know, to me, a father isn't someone who necessarily stands tall. It's someone who can bend down, take a look at his face of a child. Now, that's all theoretical because I don't really ever have a father like that. My dad left me when I was 14 years old. He wasn't a bad man, but he was sick and he was weak. And it's one of the reasons why my favorite plays is I Never Sang for My Father by Robert Anderson. It's a play, of course, that many of you know, and singing is seen very literal by the main character, but it's also a motif about the fact that there are certain things that fathers and sons should do together. And I never really had that experience. But I wanted to be a great father. That was my main goal in life. And I wanted to be one of those people where you looked in the dictionary and you saw the word father, you saw my photograph all over the place, you know. That's what I wanted. So you can imagine how I felt when I came home 2 days before my birthday in 1989 and I found that my family wasn't there. My 2-year-old son and my ex-wife, his mother, were gone. I knew that she hated it here, and I've talked about this before, and it was all orchestrated by her multi-million-dollar father and a number of other things, and my heart was ripped to shreds. I saw his things scattered about, his toys, his clothes. I didn't quite know what to do. But I did know that talking to lawyers was the wrong idea because as soon as I talked to them, they talked about everything that was legal and nothing that was right. They didn't talk about how I needed to cultivate a relationship with my son. But I have to tell you, there was a time where I muttered to myself, does this shit run in the family? Because I was really scared. It made me feel awful. So I wrote journals and I called my son every day for years, including his teachers. And I wrote journals and I wrote letters to him every week, notes every week, and more extensive letters every month. And I went to Florida, that's where they were, every month for 17 years. You heard that right, 17 years. Every month for 17 years. I have my receipts from all of my airfare to prove it, but more importantly, as a way to remember that a real father, I think, is someone who tests his strength, who knows what love is when they have to test that perseverance. There were a lot of great memorable weekends, I remember, and when my parents moved to Florida, it was easier for me to navigate my way around and to feel more comfortable. But Father's Day, 1999, my son was 12 years old, and I had him going for all of these years. And when I got there on the weekend, he had a friend who wanted to spend the weekend, and that was fine, and we went to a movie. And my son and his friend are walking in front of me. You know, they don't want any part of anybody over the age of 19, right? And I was a little bit older than them. And they're walking in front of me, and I hear them having a conversation, and my son's friend turns to him and says, you know, my dad's never around, and my son says to him, oh, my dad's always here. You know, always here. I lived 997 miles away, and he thought I was always here. I always helped him with his homework every time I arrived, and I asked him what his homework assignment was, and he had some trepidation in telling me. He was kind of reticent. I said, well, tell me what your homework is, Josh. I help you every month. He said, I don't want to talk about it. He was embarrassed. Well, after some probing and prodding, he told me that his homework assignment was to write about the favorite thing in his room. I said, well, that's a pretty cool assignment. Let's talk about that. What is it? I almost begged him. And he said, okay, my favorite thing in my room is the box I keep under my bed with the letters that you send me every week. And I thought about that. 4 years ago, I got a call that my father died. And my brother and I had to take care of all the arrangements. Now, the worst thing about that call, the worst thing, is that the person who called said, "I'm sorry for your loss." I didn't know what to say. I wanted to say something. I wanted to feel something. God, I wanted to feel something. But I didn't. I never sang for my father. I never sang for him, but that weekend, I discovered that my son sang for me. Peace.